Hello, everyone, and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video, Core Pick live stream for today. It's June 30th. It's the last day of June. It's the last day of the week on Friday for MLB DFS. That is, since I do it Monday through Friday. If you're brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, typically go over a recap of yesterday's picks. Yesterday, we looked at the slate in totality, so not really going to go over that part. So really today, it's just going to be the weather report, looking at the 12 game main slate, any weather potential spots that could be in play for today. Going over to FanDuel, talking about the core picks that I do have for today. One pitcher, four hitters. If you want to play them all together, definitely makes some sense. Obviously, stacking will play a big part in today. Not too many guys that really stand out just in general today. Pitcher-wise, hitter-wise, just a lot of unknowns there on tonight's slate. So a good slate to mix and match once again. And then last but not least, going over to the YouTube community tab, going to the bottom half of my cheat sheet. My cheat sheet is 100% free. It's up on Twitter. It's up on Facebook. It's up on the YouTube community tab. And going over those top GPP teams to stack. If you're interested in more in-depth notes, hitter versus pitcher, pitchers that I would consider risky plays, in play, or avoids today, be sure to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/Coach Greg Sports. Small monthly donation over there ends up being like 20 to 25 cents per day to help you build out some of your lineups. But without further ado, we're going to get into that weather report for today since we do not have the recap. So in terms of weather today, 12 game main slates. First starting off, we got the Baltimore and Minnesota game. This game's in Baltimore, 18% chance rain, so just a small chance there. Same thing in Pittsburgh today where they are playing the Brewers, 18% chance as well. Then we're going to keep moving down. Toronto's in a dome, don't really have to worry there. Weather looks really good for the New York Mets, which after a couple games this week hasn't been the greatest, so that's good to see. Atlanta, 19% chance of rain against Miami, so nothing too major there. Texas is in a dome, or retractable roof, I should say, so don't have to worry there. Kansas City, 35% chance of rain against the Dodgers today. Looks like that one should be good to go. We'll keep an eye on things as the day moves along. If anything does majorly change, we'll leave it down in the comments. Colorado versus Detroit. In Colorado, 32% chance of rain. Colorado is one of those spots that, that can very much change as the day moves along. Then we keep moving down. We got St. Louis, 20% chance of rain. Should be pretty good. Pretty warm there once again. Yesterday we saw 98. Today we see 90. So could be a good matchup to target some headers in once again. And then we have Los Angeles, Angels versus the Diamondbacks. Don't look like any chance of rain. Oakland looks pretty safe as well. And then last but not least, we got Seattle that is in a dome. So nothing too major for weather today. If anything does majorly change, once again, we'll leave it down in the comments. So definitely make sure you're checking up there as the day moves along. We'll have the weather updates there, starting lineups, and if there's any changes to my core throughout the day as well. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. We'll get moved over to FanDuel and talk about the core picks that I do have for today. Going to be some interesting names here today. A couple guys that, maybe haven't done quite as well as of late, or, as well as we would have expected so far this season. But at pitcher, we're going to go with Freddie Peralta today. I think there's a lot of different ways you can mix and match a pitcher today. Obviously, Shane McClanahan's kind of like the top dog at $11,000. He pitched versus Seattle last year, had 31 points. Coming off a little bit of back injury where they did give him a week off for rest, so we'll see how deep he actually pitches in this game. It's a pretty decent matchup, not going to lie, but I do expect him to have quite a bit of ownership, and he does have that high price tag. In terms of Freddie Peralta, $9,200 going against Pittsburgh today. Has really good history versus them in the past. The only hitter for Pittsburgh that's hit him really well is Brian Reynolds, and he's on the IL at this point in time. So looks like a favorable matchup for Freddie Peralta. He's got 43 points versus Pittsburgh in 2023. Had 2 starts versus them last year where he got 14 and 43 points. So pretty good, strong matchup once again. Like I said, with pitcher, a lot of different options we could look at today. Carlos Carrasco on the low end going against the Giants could be an interesting spot there. Not a high strikeout pitcher, but San Francisco's been a team that strikes out quite a bit this year. Decent history there. Michael Soroka going against the Marlins. His second MLB start since 2020. So, but he's been pitching better in AAA. He could be an interesting option, $7,400. If you want to look at like Bryce Miller, Bobby Miller, some of those guys, can definitely mix and match a lot of different guys on today's slate overall. Then as we keep moving down, we're getting into these hitters. So a lot of this is going to be based on past history or just kind of a gut feel today, honestly. So we got Pete Alonso here. He's $3,900, averaging about 12 fantasy points per game on the season. Going against San Francisco, it's Alex Cobb, most likely pitching today, unless they change things up on us once again. First start off the IL for Alex Cobb, so he's been out for a little bit with an oblique injury. We'll see how far he actually pitches into the game. But 2 for 5 with 1 home run versus him for Pete Alonso. He's been really kind of boom bust since he's returned from the IL. But he's got the 220 average, 24 home runs, 55 RBIs on the season, $3,900, averaging 12 fantasy points. And hopefully we get that bigger game out of him today, Can't really say too much about that, but the Mets are a team that we are ultimately going to end up liking to stack since they have pretty good history with Alex Cobb, and he's coming off the IL. Then at second base, we get Gleyber Torres at $2,800. He's been pretty down as of late. So I'm going to give you guys that just to start off. Matthew Liberatore pitching against some left-handed pitcher. Gleyber Torres typically hits left-handed pitching pretty well. So far this season hasn't been quite the case. He's actually been better versus righties than lefties, which is a little bit opposite of his career. But, it's only like a 60-some game or a 60 plate appearance sample size this season. So not too much history there that we want to write about. But he has never faced Matthew Liberatore in the past. 246 average, 12 home runs, 30 RBIs, 9.4 fantasy points per game at $2,800. Kind of a little bit of value spot here. We see that he has a hit in 3 out of his last 4 games. Multi-hit game yesterday. Hasn't a home run in a little while, so kind of thinking maybe he's due today. Liberatore is definitely a pitcher that he could take advantage of today. So do like him, do like the Yankees just in general, and that warmer weather in St. Louis today. And then speaking of Yankees, we got his teammate in Anthony Volpe at $2,600. Yes, has not been the greatest start to the season, has not been the greatest start to his rookie campaign, his major league career. 2.8 average. Yeah, we see that. 10 home runs, 28 RBIs, some stolen bases in there as well. 8.4 fantasy points per game, $2,600. But here's the thing with Volpe. He's actually been hitting the ball pretty well as of late. So not really stealing too many bases as of late, but he's got 3 straight multi-hit games. He's got 4 straight games with a hit just in general. And, even if you go back a little bit further, he had a small game hitting streak in there too before a 2-game offer. So guy that's starting to look a little bit better, high-end prospect. Is that good upside power speed combo? And he's got multi-hit games last couple of games. So definitely like attacking him today at a cheap $2,600 price tag. And then he's also going against Matthew Liberatore of the St. Louis Cardinals. And so far in his very, very young career, Anthony Volpe has got a 270 or 288 OPS versus left-handed pitching, which is about 160 points higher than against right-handed pitching. So definitely going to be a favorable matchup for him against the lefty. And then last but not least, for the core pick hitters that I do have for today, I got Brandon Nimmo. He is $3,300. So he's up to there. He's, it sounds like a bigger price point for him on the season, but it's really not. He's got almost averaging 11 fantasy points per game. They've been hitting the ball extremely, extremely well as of late. So he's got a hit in 7 out of his last 8 games. He's got 3 home runs in the last 3 games. There was a multi-hit home run game in one of those games, but 2 out of the last 3 games, he's hit at least 1 home run. Versus Alex Cobb in his career, 2 for 6. We already talked about Alex Cobb coming off the IL from that oblique injury. How far is he going to pitch into this game and everything else like that? Do like Brandon Nimmo hitting leadoff once again for the Mets today. Looks like a pretty good value, even at $3,300. So with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed here, you got $13,200 remaining, $3,300 remaining per player. So some room and flexibility, whether you want to pay up for a couple hitters, pay down at a couple different spots, or if you want to make a more balanced build, that's definitely a possibility as well. If you want to pay up at pitcher, you can definitely do that. If you want to pay down at pitcher, you can definitely pay up for a few different batting options today. Quite a good slate today, 12 games, good slate to mix and match and get a little bit creative just in general. But with that being said, we're going to get off of the FanDuel screen, stop sharing that one. We'll get over to the YouTube community tab, bottom half of the cheat sheet, and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for today. As always, there's only about 4 that fit in the cheat sheet. Today, there's probably about, 8 to 9 teams that you could end up ultimately stacking. So definitely be sure to check out patreon.com/Coach Craig Sports for those additional ones, plus the daily notes as well. But in terms of the ones that I do have here in the cheat sheet, we got the New York Mets. Surprise, surprise. We've been talking about them quite a bit against Alex Cobb coming off the IL from that oblique injury. He had 9 strikeouts in single A, but only went 3 2/3 innings in that game. Not sure how far he's going to pitch into this game. A lot of these guys have hit him really well in the past, whether it is Brandon Nimmo, whether it is Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, a couple different eyes out there as well. So definitely a team that I want to stack today is going to be the New York Mets. Then we got Texas Rangers. They're going against Ronel Blanco, I believe it is, for the Houston Astros. It's like his 5th career major league start. He's been pitching out of the bullpen before that as well. Not too much history here versus Texas. He pitched a little bit in relief versus them a little bit earlier this season in relief of Framber Valdez, and then a little bit last season. But, the Rangers do have pretty decent history, and they have very small sample size versus him. Blanco is a guy that pitched pretty well the last time out, but, he's going to be a very hit or miss option today, like the Texas Rangers bats once again. And then the New York Yankees, going against St. Louis Cardinals. Matthew Liberatore has not been that great this year so far, although he was a former top 100 prospect, just hasn't shown all that at this point in time. Yankees typically a team that hits left-handed pitching pretty well. A lot of these Yankees hitters are pretty suppressed in terms of price tag today, so maybe they'll be a little bit popular, but at the same time, some pretty good value options out there, whether it's an Anthony Volpe, a Gleyber Torres, a DJ LeMahieu, whoever ultimately ends up starting for them. A lot of potential there. 90-degree weather spot in St. Louis today. Balls could be flying out as well. And then last but not least, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are going against, I believe it's Alec Marsh making his MLB debut for the Kansas City Royals. So guy that wasn't that great in AAA, I believe he had a 4.6 ERA or so down there. So I'm not too concerned there. It was supposed to be Jordan Lyles, which would have been another good matchup as well, but definitely like Dodgers team, they're going to be very popular going against a rookie pitcher making his MLB debut and Alec Marsh today. But with that being said, that's pretty much what I have at this point in time in terms of core picks, top stacks, and the weather report for today. As always, if anything changes majorly with the weather report, we'll leave it down in the comments. We'll leave as many starting lineups as I can get to today down there throughout the day as well. If anything majorly changes with the core picks, we'll leave it as a pinned comment. We'll have my MLB prop of the day down there this afternoon as well. So definitely be sure to look out for that. Also, very interested in hearing who your guys' favorite plays are on today's slate, whether it's someone from my core 5 picks, whether it's someone from my top stacks, or whether it's a completely different player you guys think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing who you have to say for that. But with that being said, if you're brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we got MLB DFS Monday through Friday. Got USFL Championship Game DFS. That video will be coming out later this afternoon. Got some CFL DFS starting out for the very first time for week number 4. That video is up on the channel, put it out yesterday. A couple updates there, so definitely be sure you're checking that out if that's something you're into. But my content for that is 100% free for the very first week of me doing that, where you get access to the stats throughout the season, target shares, percentage of carries, percentage of pass attempts, all that good stuff. And then my sheet for this week, whether I would play guys in GPP, cash, or kind of, dark throw fillers, stuff like that. But with that being said, that's pretty much all that I do have at this point in time. Be sure to check out that USFL DFS video later today. I'll be going over to the Markcast to talk about the USFL Championship game around 11 o'clock Central Time. If that's something you're interested in, be sure to check us out over there. Myself, Reed, the Markcast host, Evan Wilsmore, and I believe John Vogel will be the 4 on there, and Pat Ruffino too, I believe is his name. So 4 or 5 guys over there talking some USFL Championship game. Should be a pretty interesting one today. But with that being said, that's all that I have at this point in time. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed. Hopefully you guys found this video pretty informative as you are building out your MLB DFS lineups for today. Once again, definitely appreciate each and every one of you checking this out, whether you're watching live or on replay. Definitely means a lot to me. Hopefully each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS tonight.